welcome back. Today we're going to look at romance, relationships, and specifically 3 of the most believable romances I think I've ever seen. So the While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock, The Proposal, and The Lost City. These are my 3 stories that we're going to talk about today and why I think that they all work. Most rom-coms and action films have a quick turnaround romance. We want a quick meet cute, and then we want within like a week, few weeks, they are together forever after going through a conflict or whatever. And there are tropes in romantic comedies and in action flicks or anything that has romance where you have to kind of finagle things to make it work for the genre. And a friend and I were talking a couple nights ago about fictional romance and how limited it can feel sometimes. The words he used, and I loved it, was when you shoehorn a romance into a story, and it's so accurate, where you're just forcing, woo, you got it, love, go be fierce, I believe in you. When you've got a book and you suddenly have to like, oh, I don't have a romantic interest, like where do I get it? Where do I put it in? It can feel forced. Not all of them do, but I personally find that a lot of them, I'm not sure that they're gonna last past the end, you know? And honestly, this is one of the reasons why I personally, as a writer, kind of shy away from doing romance in my novels, mostly because I don't feel like I can write it convincingly for myself in a way that's going to also appeal to a larger audience. So I just kind of stay away from it. I might imply it here and there and let the readers, fan fiction, go do the fan fiction. Awesome. I love it. Co-create with me. But these 3 movies I was thinking about this week because of that conversation, and I find them believable, which is really unusual because I really don't. I don't find most romance believable. So these 3 I was pretty pleased about. Trigger warning. These 3 movies have similarities to more of an entrapment abuse sort of relationship that works really well. So the key to this is isolation, to be perfectly honest. So in each of these movies, While You Were Sleeping from the 1990s, The Proposal from the mid-2000s, and The Lost City from 2021, I believe it was, 22, I don't know. Each of these star Sandra Bullock, and in each of these films, Sandra Bullock is alone. She doesn't have anybody. She works, and that's it. That's all she has. And so this isolation piece makes a person vulnerable, but also open to possibility that maybe there will be human connection. And if you don't have human connection anywhere else, you're willing to take it from somebody else, somewhere else. So if you could take any of these stories and where she is, and you could turn it into like a horror, psychological thriller, whatever, pretty quickly, because of just the sudden, like, she's just swept away into a different life with human connection. And because it's a rom-com, it doesn't go dark. But a lot of the other stories out there that are more are on the darker side, you tend to have either a character who begins to isolate themselves because of this relationship, or they are already isolated, and it makes them vulnerable and open to certain things. So in While You Were Sleeping, this woman is completely alone. She's an orphan. She doesn't have the adventures and the things that she wanted to do, the dreams that she was pursuing. They're all gone. And she has created a fantasy in her mind with one of her customers. And it so happens that this customer winds up being saved by her and put into a hospital in a coma. So with this, what's interesting is she is suddenly completely absorbed into his family, and his family is insane. And it's super warm and happy and lovely. And what I enjoy about this is there's a moment in the movie where Sandra Bullock is at their house for Christmas, and she's hugging a present that they had bought for her, and she's just smiling, and she's just looking at the chaos around her, and she is so happy. And this is what she wants. She doesn't want a guy. She wants human connection. And then suddenly she is completely overwhelmed with a beautiful flood of people who have completely accepted her and drawn her in and have decided that she is their part of their family. And that's really a beautiful thing. And then in walks Bill Pullman. It's Lucy and can't remember his name. Jack. Lucy and Jack. And then Jack walks in, and he is actually part of this family. And they have, Lucy and Jack have a really interesting rapport. Like, they just are on the same page. They work really well together. They flow very nicely. And from that point on, they do actually fall in love. But they are also super invested in the family. And they have similar values. So I can see how someone who is so desperate for human connection is suddenly drawn into this family and falls in love with the family and finds a way to keep it. But also, the other thing that makes the romance real, besides just them having a rapport, is they have both, in the course of this movie, been put into situations that most of us can't fully fathom. Like, the level of misperception and misplacement is intense, and nobody else can really relate to that. So this creates an instant bond between these two characters, and I think it's a bond that's going to last, and it's something that they can build on. In The Proposal, this one's really interesting. She is also, again, alone. She works really hard, and as she's working really hard, Margaret has Andrew nearby. And Andrew has been in the trenches with her forever. They're a good team. They work really well together. They bring value to each other. They both respect each other. They don't necessarily like each other, but they can function well together. Now, as in this movie, she blackmails him into marrying her, and so they go to his house for the weekend. Now, this is a really quick turnaround. And what I love about it is she suddenly goes from, I give you all the value and you work for me and you do all the things that I want you to do. And internally, she doesn't want to lose him because he brings that much value, but it's still a very unequal kind of relationship. She goes to his stomping grounds and discovers that he is a very high value person to everyone in this town. And he himself, personally, not just professionally for her to serve her needs in her professional life, he has an access and a belovedness and a connectedness to a lot of people. She does not have this. So in this weekend, she is basically like drawn into his family. He brings her into his family, proves that he is a high value person, and because of him, she is accepted. Because it's kind of snarky at first. and she is not accepted at first. But as soon as he attaches his name to hers, she is accepted and she becomes a high value member of this community. And so suddenly she has holidays to plan. She has a future to plan with people. She doesn't have parents. She doesn't have siblings. She is all alone. The only thing she can plan is her professional life. And that's all she's been doing. So with Andrew, she suddenly is catapulted into a relationship and in a longevity that she can't get in any other way. And it's also a pause from her work, and her work is giving her the space to do this because they're going to lose her otherwise. So it actually creates the space for her to jumpstart a massive relationship and get it way further down the road than she would be able to do in her normal life. And because she has such experience with Andrew and vice versa, there's a connection and there is a rapport and an ability to keep going and kind of get past the awkwardness of, I don't know how to work with you. I don't know you very well. They do know each other. They're just taking it into the personal realm. So that is a foundation of experience as well as an emotional vulnerability that makes sense. She's falling in love again with the family as much as she's falling in love with Andrew. And she already had a respect and a knowledge and an understanding of Andrew as a person. So that, I mean, I can see that one 100%. And then in the last one, it's really interesting because again, she has lost her husband. I don't think her parents are around because the only person she talks to is Beth, her agent. So, but what's interesting about this one is it's not just the love of her life. It's her love of adventure that's gone, and also her mind. The things that she likes to figure out and piece together, all of her passions are gone. They have been taken from her. She can't pursue them anymore. And all she's doing is writing something that she no longer has any active input from. So she's not solving a puzzle. She's not going on adventures. She's not traveling. She doesn't have her husband around. So all she's doing is fantasizing for a bunch of people, and she has no more fuel left. She's used it all up. So, and then again, she has a coworker, someone that she has some experience with, some familiarity with, who adores her. And when you're lonely, that is also that's appealing. So when she gets taken to an island by Harry Potter, and is running around trying to escape, she and Dash are on an adventure. She has suddenly traveled. She is in a place where she is an expert and she has to use her mind to solve a puzzle. She suddenly has a man who brought her cheese. I mean, come on, who wouldn't fall in love with a man who brings you cheese? I mean, hello. Did you kill the mouse? She didn't. It's a toy. You're so fierce. And she is having an experience with someone she had familiarity with. She's having an experience that no one else is going to be able to relate to. So again, that creates a bond with this character, with Channing Tatum's character, that she's not going to have with anybody else. So if she wants to relive that moment, or if she wants to like stress about it or be like, I was so brilliant, he's kind of the main person that she can do that with. But in this particular adventure, she has suddenly found water after a really long time of being thirsty. And so all of it, the adventure, the travel, the academic challenge of translating this language and finding this city and challenging herself beyond what she thought she could do, and then suddenly having to face the fact that she does not know this guy as much as she does, and he adores her and brings her cheese. This makes sense why she would fall in love with him. Will it last? I don't know. But that is an attachment that I can understand, and I think is smart, and it is it has all the pieces to last if they choose to do that. So these are my thoughts about romance. If you're doing a quick turnaround, you have to make it's basically like stakes. You have to make something worthwhile. It's not just, hey, this guy's available, therefore, or this girl's available, therefore, of course I'll change my life around and fall in love with this person. There has to be something that they're missing in their lives, and it can't just be romance, I don't think, because I don't think that's enough to actually justify some of the shenanigans that rom-coms get up to. So that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. If you disagree, I'd love to hear it. If you agree, awesome. If you have any other stories that are good examples of one or the other, let me know. Comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.